Two major updates hit us today for both the Call of Duty League as well as the Call of Duty Challenger system. And with that also came a head coaching announcement out of the Optic Gaming LA squad. Breaking down all the things you need to know, coming right up. COD fans, welcome back. IHOLDSHIFT with you guys. It's been a while. Again, there's just been a lack of content for me to go over. I don't like to do rumors. I don't like to do silly news posts. I like to do recaps and professional content. And now we finally got something to talk about. So we're going to dig right into it and go over everything that you want to know and need to know about what has changed in the last couple of hours between not only the Call of Duty League format from what it was initially proposed, but also what's going to be coming forward if you're an amateur or a path to pro aspiring player in the Challenger circuit. Let's start things off really quickly and just kind of do a list breakdown for you guys as far as what everything is going to look like, kind of a side-by-side comparison of all the format things that have changed over the last couple of hours. You may recall back at the initial proposal of the Call of Duty League schedule that it was going to be a lot of traveling for everybody involved, as it was going to be a handful of regular season matches that were played at different home locations. Over the last couple of weeks, we've heard that that's going to be changing to a more tournament-based system with less travel involved for both the teams as well as the organizations when it comes to them trying to host both Overwatch League events while also hosting Call of Duty League events throughout the regular season. So what has transpired essentially is this. The Call of Duty League will be moving to a points-based system where there will not really be a true regular season anymore. It's going to be a bunch of different small tournaments. Now, before we get into breaking what that looks like, first and foremost, you get to know that the league-based system is going to a points format where each team would be earned 10 points per match win. That includes regular matches like we'll see at Minnesota, as well as the ones that we'll get in tournament format at the home series. 15 total weekends of competition. That's a little bit lower than what we had initially from the initial schedule. And this will also include in that 15 weekends the All-Star and Championship weekends. So technically there's only 13 total weekends of actual regular season play. If you don't include the launch weekend, there's only actually 12 home series that will be going on. Now, the Minnesota weekend has not changed with the exception of adding in more actual head-to-head matches. Every single team will play 2 matches over the course of the 3 days in the launch weekend at Minnesota. And then from there, we'll be going to a home series format where those weekends will feature tournaments. Okay, now to stay with me here as far as this goes. This will not be your traditional open event that you might know from titles previous. This is a totally new, different format. Each weekend of these home series will feature 8 teams, of which they'll be put into 2 groups, and it'll be put into essentially a Final Four format. So what that means is that the groups will be their own double elimination style bracket, where I'm sure that the seeding will be determined based on, what their rankings currently are going into the weekend. And the top 2 who get through those double elimination groups will go into a Final Four, which it'll actually be a single elimination style bracket. I know it seems like a lot, but COD Gamepedia just recently put up a picture as far as what it looks like. Group A, double elimination. Top 2 from that go into the final playoff, I guess we'll call it. Group B, same exact thing. 4-man bracket, double elimination. Top 2 go into the bracket finals. That will be a single elimination all the way through. So the point breakdown per placement at an event of a home series weekend, it's 50 points for first, 30 points for second, 20 points for third or fourth, since there's no double elimination in the playoff, 10 points for 5 and 6, and 0 points for 7th and 8th. Now, you also have to keep in mind that teams will be awarded 10 points per match win. So technically speaking, if you win every single game, that's 4 total matches that you would have, and you would be getting 40 points plus the possible 50. There's a total of 90 total points that are available during each of these home weekends. So you could very quickly see how if you come up with no points 2 weekends in a row, it's going to be very difficult to come back into the standings very quickly, which is, it makes a little bit of sense. It would kind of feel the exact same way as being credited a normal win-loss and then going off of a win-loss record. But this is a little bit different because it is a tournament-based to kind of, again, fuel the less amount of weekends with more action. I think that's the biggest thing is we're taking away the number of weekends that require the team to travel, but beyond that, we're getting more actual content throughout those weekends. It averages out to be about 13 total series every single weekend. That's definitely good. As you go through the season, doing this time and time again, week in and week out, the top total 8 teams will make it into the playoffs, and there will also be 4 wild card spots. The wild cards will be single elimination for those 4 teams, and then the final 10 will go into a double elimination where the top 2 seeds will actually have byes going into that final series. So that's what's going to look like for the Call of Duty League weekend. Minnesota is actually kind of the outlier. What initially was going to be the most regular season games played is now turning into essentially just a celebration weekend with only 10 points on the line. Well, I guess technically 20 points on the line for each of the teams, since each team will be playing 2 matches. The weekend series, though, that you'll see throughout the majority of the regular season will be this tournament format. So it's going to be pretty different, but I actually kind of enjoy that. Now, going along with that, the Challengers scene has also gotten a few updates. Most importantly, at Minnesota, that's where we're going to see the biggest opening weekend for Challengers, about 192 teams. The prize breakdown has been established for that $250,000 that's on the line. First place will be granted $80,000, second place $40,000, third $25,000, fourth $20,000, 5th and 6th, 12.5K, 7th and 8th, 7.5K, 9th through 12th, 6.25K, and then 13th through 16th will be $5,000 even, $1,000 per player. Not bad if you finish top 16. The roster lock has also been established for this event here in Minnesota. If you have not already locked your rosters or set them, you need to do so by January 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern. That is the last time that you can make any swaps if you are a Challengers player. Now, here's the bigger news, and what I think a lot of people are going to be very excited about, is that home events will include more Challengers tournaments. Now, I have to make a distinction here. There are going to be official, actual Activision Blizzard sanctioned Path to Pro Challengers events that are going to be major open events like we come to know them, like Minnesota, but these home events are not that. These are unofficial events that are hosted and put on by the home teams themselves. 10K series, so I imagine there'll be 10,000 pro points up for grabs in these, but they're limiting them to 32 to 64 teams, and a minimum of $10,000 total dollars in prizing will have to be posted, again, by what I would imagine would be the CDL team themselves. This is not an Activision Blizzard official Path to Pro event. These are more just opportunities for Challengers teams to come, earn some points, and earn a little bit of extra money. But these are going to be more like regional events more than anything else. They will be put on by the teams themselves, not necessarily Activision Blizzard or the CDL. They will just be existing while the actual home series for the CDL weekends are happening. So it's just extra events for Challengers teams and players that are out there. That's very good news. But beyond that, later on in the post, more major Challenger events have been essentially established as to be determined. Likely teams will be hosting quote-unquote official events here, selected teams, depending on selective weekends, and those will likely be open registration or capped around the 192 mark like we saw for Minnesota. That prize pool, as far as I figured, will be a much more major prize pool as put on by Activision Blizzard. So that'll be an official, essentially CDL production with the Activision Blizzard squad and team, and that will be put on likely on like what would be the CDL open stream like we knew from years previous. So a little bit of a distinction there. The major events, I'm going to call them majors and minors. It's the best way to kind of establish them. Minor events will be happening every single weekend at home events put on by CDL teams. And then there will be major events that will also be happening throughout the regular season. And those will be established to be ran by select teams. So some of those weekends that we're coming to know will be longer, bigger events. You figure LA will be one of them, and maybe another one over on the East Coast, since Minnesota's the one in the middle. And then I imagine there will also be still that Challengers Finals that'll be going on during the championship weekend. Beyond that, that's all the format changes. I know it's a lot of information. Feel free to go back and rewatch that again if you need to. But the only other news to really bring out is the fact that we will no longer be seeing Pac-Man on the desk, as he has accepted a job as the head coach of the Optic Gaming Los Angeles squad. A big congratulations out to Pac-Man for landing such a coveted spot. I'm very faithful that he's going to do a great job with that squad. A lot of kind of friends and bonds that are already there between a lot of those players, and a lot to prove, I think, just for everybody now, including Pac-Man as well as Mud Dog, who's kind of overseeing the operation as a whole. Very excited for the Optic Gaming squad. Big congratulations to Pac-Man and the Optic team for picking up such a smart guy. And who knows, maybe that means that we'll be seeing somebody new on the desks. No idea as far as how that goes, as there's been a lot of moves in the broadcasting world from Activision Blizzard. Of course, a lot of you guys know that Puckett is no longer working for the Overwatch League. I would not anticipate seeing him doing much with Call of Duty as far as a regular mainstay, but beyond that, there's also a number of Overwatch League casters that are no longer casting for the Overwatch League. So who knows what's going to happen as far as the broadcast team. We're still a little bit unclear on that. Hopefully we'll get some information soon. We'll be able to give you guys some updates as far as that goes. Until the Minnesota weekend, though, I hope that you guys keep holding it down. You come back for more recap action when we have the coverage to bring to you guys. Until then, hope you keep holding it down. So long.